Looking for a simple and efficient way to increase the joy in your life? Start by giving stuff away. Proverbs 22 verse 9 says, "The generous will themselves be blessed, for they share their food with the poor." What does it mean to be blessed? This is a biblical word that means to experience happiness, joy, and favor with God and with people. And Proverbs 22 says there's a specific group of people who line themselves up for blessing, and they are generous people. Generous people are usually happy people. Now, two sociologists in 2014 wrote an interesting book called The Paradox of Giving, and this book was based on thousands of surveys, interviews, and studies that they analyzed on the effect of giving time and energy and money, and the effect that that has on people. Their conclusion was that more generous people are usually happier, they suffer fewer illnesses, they live with a greater sense of purpose, and suffer less depression. Now, this is especially amazing when you realize this book was not a religious book. It wasn't a Christian book. It was a work of sociology, confirming what Solomon here in Proverbs 22 said thousands of years ago, which is that generous people usually experience happiness and blessedness. The missionary Bruce Wilkinson tells the story of years ago when he was in Africa, and his son wanted ice cream late one night when they were out and about in town. So they came to this restaurant. The restaurant was closed, but he was asking very nicely. He said, "Please, can you get some ice cream for my son?" And the waitress said, "Sure, she'll try and help." So she was in the kitchen trying to figure out how to get them ice cream when Bruce sensed an impulse. He recognized that maybe God was speaking to him, and he had this impression that he should leave a very large tip for this waitress. He took out his wallet, and inside there was actually a lot of cash, a lot of money. So he left all of it, and he was out the door after he got his ice cream. But the waitress ran after them and stopped them. And she said, "Sir, do you know Jesus?" And he said, "Yes, actually, I do." And she said, "This morning when I came to work, I was praying and I was saying, God, you know I need to pay rent this week. And if I don't get it, I will be living on the streets." And she said, "Sir, the amount that you gave me this night is exactly the amount I need to pay my rent." So that's how I knew that you knew Jesus. And Bruce Wilkinson says that since that day, he has a special place in his wallet that he calls the God pocket, where he puts a little bit of money that is there only for special occasions like this, when maybe he gets an impulse or an impression that God wants him to be generous. My challenge to you watching is, why don't you do the same? Why don't you take your wallet and put a 5 or a 10 or a 20 euro note in the God pocket and see if God wants to use you to be generous, maybe when you're walking down the street or meeting different people. Proverbs 22 says, "The generous will themselves be blessed, for they share with their food with the poor."